Hello, everyone. I have felt my spirit calling me to some sacred work. And so this is my first video speaking to this specific audience. The audience that I'm speaking to are men, young men, and potentially older men who are really struggling in life right now, specifically with relationally, socially, men who are feeling potentially outcast in some way or disqualified in some way from having a healthy, loving, mutually beneficial partnership, relationship, marriage with a woman. I feel very passionate about this topic. Not only have I been navigating my own shifts and changes in the area of relationships and how I even relate to men. I have 2 adult sons, one of which is struggling in his own life with this dichotomy. And so it is, I feel that I have incredible insight and wisdom into what is actually happening. And I feel that I have support to offer these young men and potentially older men that can help them to navigate these times and to navigate the landscape of what they're experiencing. So there is a word that's used in the younger community that I don't like this word, incel. And it is a word that means involuntarily celibate. But I use a word to be clear about my audience. And this word is describing the emotional and mental and physical experience that many young men are having of feeling like they don't measure up, feeling as if something's wrong with them. There's something that is disqualifying them from finding a girlfriend and being intimate, falling in love, all of those things. And my hopes in these series of videos that I'm gonna release as the inspiration comes, my goal is to offer multiple perspectives on what's happening so that you feel equipped to support yourself in your own growth, in your own self-awareness, and in achieving your goals. This topic is impossible to talk about without the conversation around spirituality and spiritual awareness, spiritual identity. And truth be, it really doesn't matter what your spiritual belief. However, what is extremely supportive is the understanding, just a basic belief and understanding that there is an intelligent source that is organizing all of life, that the basis of life is consciousness, is this source consciousness, and that we are all a part of this source consciousness, that we are not in fact separate. However, we have chosen to have an experience in form, and that requires the experience of separation. So most of us are not born knowing and remembering our connection to Source. And the reason that this feels like an important foundation to lay in this conversation is the topic of sovereignty. Sovereignty is a concept, a spiritual concept, that says we are our own source, meaning we have a connection to Source from within ourselves. That is not an external connection. And so whatever comes from the Source, which is everything, so our identity, our access to love, our access to self-awareness, our access to blessing, our access to abundance, all of those come from the Source. And so the access point to all of those is within us. It's not outside of us. And everything that you hear on social media, everything that you hear in movies, society, education, all of it is leading you astray and teaching you that, teaching you that external factors are the source for your happiness, whether that be the beautiful girl, the dream career, the successful job, the bank account, the car, the clothes, the body, whatever those stories are for you. Forgive me. My face has been so itchy. Can't stop itching it. Whatever those stories are for you, whatever those belief systems, they're so ingrained and reinforced within us that keeps us focused on the external and focused on this external search for what it is that we're longing for. We all have this internal longing and this internal pressure that is designed to move us through life so that we can have all of the soul experiences and the learning experiences that we signed up for. And a perspective that I would like to offer from the feminine point of view is, and this is also, I have been studying religion and spiritual topics, esoteric knowledge, mysticism, trauma, understanding trauma. I'm trained as a magnetic mind coach, which works and teaches about consciousness. I have had training as a sex, love, and relationship coach. I'm also certified as a Sophia Circle leader in that divine feminine esoteric knowledge. The feminine point of view that I would like to offer is, it is an evolutionary look at what's happening. And there are two main, I work with a few systems, but there are two systems related to this topic that I'd like to bring up in this video. One is called the Sophia Code. And the Sophia Code is a divine feminine channeled text that teaches humanity about its divine origins and its divine genome. So the basic concept is that humanity is divine, that it's one coin. On one side of the coin is our humanity, on the other side is our divinity. And that the masters that came before us, like Jesus, they were humans that fully embodied their soul, their divine aspect, and thus they were deified and worshipped as a result. This book, this codex, reveals to humanity right now that based on astrology and astrological predictions, humanity is in such a time, where we're awakening, which means we are no longer remaining under the veil of separation, where the veil is being lifted and we're being initiated into the remembrance of our connection to the divine, to ourselves, to source, to love. And the other system that I work with that I want to bring up is called the Gene Keys. The Gene Keys is a system of self-knowing that is based on the original Chinese I Ching, which is the oldest spiritual wisdom on the planet, at least that we've discovered up until this point. And it's also based on the human design system. And this system, when you plug in your birthday information, your day of birth, your month, your day, your year, your time of birth, and the city that you were born in, the city and the state and the country. So based on your time and place in relationship to the cosmos, it provides you a blueprint, a spiritual blueprint for your life, for this life. And through this system, you are able to contemplate and to understand in a deeper way the design of your life that your soul designed for you in conjunction with Source. And knowing this blueprint can help you to understand both the shadow patterns and your gifts and your divine patterns that are your unique expression of self. So, why am I bringing up these two things in this conversation? Because what's revealed in both of these texts, which are completely separate from one another, they're not connected at all, but this is wisdom that's coming forward right now. What's being revealed is that humanity is undergoing a shift. A lot of shifts. There's a lot of shit going down. Everybody can feel it. Everybody knows it. But there's not a lot of language out there to articulate exactly what's happening, which is why one of the reasons why I love working with these two systems. So one of the things that's unfolding, one of the things that's unfolding right now that I feel is relevant to this conversation is not only is humanity purging our collective history of trauma during this time, but the schematic, the blueprint for the human that we are becoming is unfolding, and it's unfolding in the energetics. So if we rewind time and we go to the past a little bit, and I'm going to use the term patriarchy, and what I want to say, first of all, from the bottom of my heart, is that I love men. Men are wonderful. The masculine is wonderful. I love my own internal masculine very much. I depend on him every day. So when I reflect upon the past several thousand years of patriarchy that we are now navigating out of, please understand that I do so with gentleness and kindness and with no hatred or shade toward men or the masculine. We all have been following the scripts of our life, and the masculine is no different. So, for perspective, in the patriarchal culture, what took place is, in older times, where the divine feminine was actually worshipped as gods, goddesses, etc. The power of women, not only as a physical portal for life, our wombs, our yonis, are stargates for life to be birthed. not only physical life, but creative life. Women were much more in tune and connected with their own power and with the power of their magnetism. So, to understand polarity, women represent the magnetics of polarity, and the masculine represents the electricity. So it is the electricity that seeks out what it's magnetized to. So the feminine is the receptive, and the feminine is drawing to her the masculine energy. And this was, well, very powerful, very potent. And when humanity decided that they wanted to experiment with moving into patriarchal society, it was really based on the fear, the masculine fear of this feminine power. It was seen as a dark power. It was demonized. It was seen as a bewitching power because it was so strong and it had such an effect on men. And this is when the psychic power of women, the intuitive knowing of women, their connection with source, which is so clear, where these abilities and these ways of being naturally had become a threat to the patriarchy, to men in power. And that's when they started burning what they called witches. In addition to that, the structure of society that decided that women would become property of men, to be owned, to be controlled. All of these dynamics have been playing out over the last several thousand years. It is only recently, so I was born in the 70s, and only a decade before that were women even allowed to have their own bank accounts. So even though all of this trauma of the masculine seeking to control the feminine out of fear, that trauma is still very much present within us, both men and women. Because, honey, let me tell you, even though you're a man, you have an inner feminine. And that inner feminine also has trauma related to these experiences. And the same goes for women. Not only do we have the victimization trauma, we have the perpetrator trauma within us as well, because we also have an inner masculine. And if you believe in past lives or other incarnations, which I do, then we've all been male and female in many, many, many different incarnations. We've all played all the roles, the good guys, the bad guys, all of it. We've done it all. And Why all of this information is important to the experience that you're having right now is there is a benevolent force, source of all life that is designing the unfolding of the plan. All of evolution is seeking to resolve us back to the original source. And the original blueprint for intimacy, for marriage, for love between the male and the female, the masculine and the feminine. And this can apply to any gender, because we're talking about masculine and feminine polarity. And the reason it's so difficult, relationships are so difficult for everyone right now, is because we are in a major shift. Historically, because of this patriarchal experiment that we've all been a part of for thousands and thousands of years, love, intimacy, marriage, and relationship, and our perceptions about how they operate are built on the wrong foundation, a faulty foundation, a false foundation. And that foundation, that false foundation, is a foundation of inequality, where people are choosing one another. It's all unconscious now. We are unconsciously drawn to relationships to play out these traumas, these ancestral traumas, where women, it's impossible for the feminine to truly be in love, to truly choose the masculine, when her free will is co-opted, when love is not really the choice. And so historically, marriage has been an arrangement. It's been a financial arrangement, and it's been about status and position. It's not been about love. And in the times when women were not counted, and when they were considered the property of men, women could not exist and have their own autonomy and have their own pure expression outside of the husband. And this was a perversion of the sanctity of what marriage was intended to be. And so what's happening is that life, the programming, the consciousness aspect of life that is guiding us through evolution, is creating different energies, different experiences, different ways of relating. And again, most of this is completely unconscious. We're not aware of it with our conscious mind. It's unconscious. it's affecting who we're magnetizing. It's disrupting the system that's always been. And while it feels like a punishment for many of you, as I know that it's deeply painful and hurtful to desire love and to desire a relationship and for you to receive the messages from society that says you're not qualified to experience that because of this, because of this, because of this, because of this. When the truth is, there's two things going on. One of these is that this is an initiation of your own soul to move out of the previous codependency dynamics between male and female relationships. Two, we're also being initiated collectively to go within and to reconnect with the source of love within us. And what this recalibration is doing is it is when we discover that we are the source for that which we seek, that we have a direct connection, and that no one outside of us is responsible for our happiness or our fulfillment. And yes, we're in human bodies, we're having a human journey, and we get to want the things, we get to have the desires, and we get to move through the experiences of having them and not having them as a part of our growth journey. But the overarching purpose of this shift is to bring the masculine and the feminine back into a state of equality and balance, where true intimacy can be chosen and developed. When two people who have done their own inner work, where they have gone on the inner journey of reconnecting to source, they are establishing the value of who they are based on their beingness and not based on any of these external parameters that the world is saying you need to check off all of these boxes in order to get laid or to fall in love or for someone to want you. You aren't attractive enough. You aren't this. You aren't that. All of these experiences is a pressure that's forcing you to go within and to reconnect with your source. And only when you know it's not a belief, it's a knowing. It's a knowing because it's an experience to have. And I know this because I'm on this journey and I've reclaimed my own self enough and reconnected with my source enough where I've trained myself to come back again and again for what I need from this source. It's not that we can't give to each other. It's not that we can't be all of the things to each other. We certainly want to attract a partner who is supporting us and loving us and encouraging us and giving equally and equally supporting and contributing and all the things. Right? But when we make that our source, we're always set up for suffering because it's temporary. Everything in life is temporary. The person that you love might become sick and die, or that person changes and becomes something else, and that's not a right fit for you any longer. These changes that we're going through right now are initiating us into our greatness. And I'm going to close out this video by saying, all the superhero movies and all the video games that you love so much, that are speaking to a hunger inside of you to experience yourself in that way. You already are that. And when you discover that, and when you seek that within yourself, whatever path calls to you, whatever path of divine knowing calls you, when you truly search your own mind, your heart, your soul, and you discover that you already are everything that you've ever desired to be. That is the gift that this pressure is wanting to give you. You are worthy. You are amazing. You are wonderful. And the feedback that a woman might be giving you, if you are desiring a woman and she is out of your league, or you're not right for her, if you think that is only happening on your end, it's happening to women all over the planet, including myself. You can perceive that I'm beautiful or attractive or whatever, but being attractive does not guarantee anything. And when only you can explore self-honesty in the area. If you truly want honest feedback about yourself, my recommendation is for you to seek out platonic friendships with girls, with women, where relationship is not on the table, sex is not on the table, and you truly spend time with that person and you truly reflect honestly if you like the fullness of who they are rather than just the package that they are in. And in that type of friendship, if you ask for feedback from them, ask them honest questions, they will tell you. If you have an ideal for the type of woman that you want, if the type of woman that you want is way more attractive than what you are attractive, and again, that's not always the case, but it is a factor. We all want to be physically attracted to who we're drawn to, our partnership. But I will tell you, I've been in many relationships and marriages with men who were very unattractive. It was not their physical appearance that drew me to them. And that was a chemistry thing. There was chemistry pulling us together. But if you're wanting some woman who is a professional woman, who's making a lot of money, who's got her act together, who dresses really smart, but then you aren't putting in the effort in those areas yourself, then you're creating an imbalance and you are actually feeding your own failure in this area. And so that is a consideration for you to think about. And what I'm sharing are just things that are considerations for me in my own reflections of my journey in relationships, dating, seeking out partnerships. And I can tell you, as an embodied woman, mature embodied woman, what I mean by embodied is I know my own source. I am my own source of love. Am I perfect in all of that? No, I'm still healing from certain things. I'm still overcoming certain patterns, but I have a strong sense of myself, my value. I'm relating to all of myself as valuable. I am treating myself as a whole person. I'm valuing not just the physical. I'm valuing my mental capacity, my emotional maturity. I'm valuing my spiritual mastery. All of these aspects of myself. And in a partnership, I'm looking for someone who can match me and meet me at that level, at least somewhat. And so the superficial aspects really start to fall apart when you begin to seek to love yourself. Because if you don't like yourself, I'm not talking about cockiness or false arrogance. An embodied woman can smell that a mile away. And it is a no, no, no. False arrogance is not attractive. You have to go on your own hero's journey. You have to decide. You have to seek yourself and know yourself and choose yourself. When you choose yourself, that exudes an attractiveness that is undeniable, and women will notice. And if you're experiencing a lot of games, a lot of head games, and a lot of superficial bullshit in your search for love, for companionship, for intimacy, then that's a signal you are drawing that to yourself, because that's what you embody. So when you address those areas of superficiality within yourself, you're going to the source. You're resolving it at the source, and then what you're emanating in your own embodiment begins to send out a new signal to attract new types of women. I don't have any need for anyone to believe anything that I'm saying or to see things the way that I do. I'm simply offering my embodied wisdom as I see it. And if you feel magnetized to this, if this resonates with you and you would like support in your journey of going within and understanding yourself better, then I don't have anything started yet, but I am actually thinking about starting a group coaching container specifically for men. And if this resonates with you, please let me know in the comments. Share with me whatever you would like to share. I would like to hear your thoughts. Thanks so much.